Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. And inside of today's video, we're going to be breaking down KENJI before his early access release tomorrow. So if you guys want to check out how strong he is when he's released, make sure to subscribe if you're not already. We pushed him to rank 35 in the first few hours, so I can give you guys the best build and everything on how strong he is and whether to actually buy the early access bundles. So we're going to be diving into his best matchups, his best counters, his best modes, and how strong I predict him to be, because there's actually a few changes which aren't even in the dev build, which I think are going to happen. So let's take a look at his brawler stats and just really quick. So HP 7,600, I think that's pretty similar to Mortis. His trait is one from Edgar, so every time you deal damage you heal up. Very fast movement speed, similar to Crow. You've got 1,000 dash damage, 2,000 slash, very fast reload speed, and a short range, and 2,600 super damage. So let's briefly talk about a few things with just how he works mechanically. So if you guys are unaware, his super, he's invincible when you use it. So you can see that X, and the damage is throughout that X. In terms of the damage, I think there are some changes that we need to talk about. So I've been hearing through the grapevine and on Twitter and whatever else that apparently his damage is actually, instead of this slash this dash 1000, apparently it is 1500, and then the slash right here it's 2000, but apparently that's been buffed to 3000. So I'm unsure, but that could definitely influence how strong he's going to be. If it's going to be the buff stats, he's going to be S tier. Absolutely. I thought he was going to be S tier anyway. After trying him against bots, maybe not as strong as I thought, but with them buff stats, 100%. So one thing to note with KENJI is that he has a very fast reload speed. So you can't really show it on this dev build because the servers aren't exactly the best, but because I think it's like NA servers on dev build. But if I was to show on EU servers, if you have a good ping, just imagine Mortis and Stu. Imagine what you can do with KENJI with a very fast reload speed. You can get some really good damage combinations. The thing about his super is that you can literally damage people through walls. So say here, I could damage someone across that wall and then across this wall at the same time. That is a pretty cool one. His super recharges in 5 hits, so just like Mortis. And of course that his super can really help him dodge like attacks and whatever else. So for example, say there's like a Tara super right here, you can just throw this, avoid it, come back and destroy her and everything else. So that's just a few things to note about KENJI. Okay, so now let's take a look at his gadgets and his star powers. So the first gadget is called Dashy Dash. So for 3 seconds you only have the dash ability. I actually think this one will be a fun one. I think this could be popular with the casuals. I think the other gadget is probably a bit better, but like I said, this could definitely be good like early game. Say if you want some early positioning or like knockout or something to catch your opponents off guard, I think that could be pretty good. And especially if you want to get away from, you know, an oncoming bull or just like a tank which you can't deal with, you can use this gadget and really get away fast. I think it's definitely a good gadget, but it might be overshadowed by gadget 2. So now jumping into the second gadget, which is a healing gadget. So for the 3 seconds that you receive damage, you will heal up to 75% of that damage missing. So it's hard to show it in the training cave because this sniper bot, he shoots so slow. He's like my nan at shooting, but you can tap the gadget when I get really low here and you'll just see that I'm able to replenish a little bit. This is going to be really good against high damage brawlers, or just basically when you take a lot of damage quickly. Of course, your assassin, you're going to do that, you're going to be able to heal a lot. So yeah, that healing was terrible, but just think, say if there's like a Shelly or just anyone just destroying you quickly, pop your gadget, you're going to get back to near enough full HP from 7,600, from 1,000 to all the way back up to nearly 7,000. That's insane. There's so much survivability, and I think this gadget is absolutely busted. And I think it might be a big reason as to why I think KENJI will be so strong. Now jumping into the first star power. So the first star power, his slices get an increased range by 30%. I think this could secretly be a really good one. I think his super is very, very good, especially for the chaining. I think that's the main reason why you're going to use KENJI, to chain your supers and just destroy people. So I think this will be an underrated one. It's going to allow you just to get a lot more damage, allow you to get some surprising attacks. Like you think of this, I can literally kill the sniper bot whilst also killing someone across the map as well. I think it's going to be a very underrated star power in my opinion. Okay, for star power number 2, again, it's pretty hard to show in the training cave, but you're able to tank 90% of the damage incoming every 5 seconds that you're not hit. This sounds really OP, but I just get the feeling that it's going to be pretty hard to always get this value out of star power. I don't know, depends how you play. I feel like the community might have overreacted a little bit on it though, but maybe like in knockout and bounty it's going to be really strong because that's where the snipers are. But I just don't see KENJI being good in those game modes, so I'm a bit torn with this one. I feel like I might probably use the other star power, even though this definitely has like its use cases and it does seem pretty strong. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe it is busted and I'm just not really anticipating it well. So quickly going to go through the build that I predict that is going to be the best with him. So I think absolutely the second gadget is going to be by far the best one. This gadget is so good. Like, it's literally like he's got Mortis bats built into him, right? He's already got healing with his main attack. His super also heals as well when you attack people. And then you've got this as well. I feel like KENJI is going to be such a hard kill. So 1,000,000% the second gadget. And then star powers, I'm going to have to test it when he comes out. I just get the feeling that you won't get much value as the game goes on with his star power, but it definitely could be busted against some matchups for sure. I think I probably would go with star power number 1. Again, wait till tomorrow till I test it out. I feel like maybe I'm underestimating this one though. And in terms of gears, I think you definitely need the extra gadget gear with him. And then because he's a brawler that heals with his main attack, maybe you do need damage, maybe you need shield. We'll have to test it out. I feel like shield probably will be better. Okay, let's quickly go over his game modes and where I predict him to land in these game modes. So first off, we have gem grab. I think he's going to absolutely be an S tier brawler, especially with the buff stats. I think it's going to just destroy everything. Just think of Mortis. It's very comparable because they're pop-off brawlers. They're able just to jump on the gem carry so easily. Literally, he can fly over the wall, and if the gem carry is not suspecting it, that's 5.2k damage point blank. That can kill Pipers. That can kill all those squishy gem carries. He's going to be a menace. Absolutely S tier. So quickly, got to go for a prediction with Showdown. I don't normally play Showdown too much myself. I think his star power could actually be pretty good with this, and his gadget are going to be really good in 1v1 scenarios. It just depends with the damage buff. Got potential. I'm going to just put it at 8 tier. We have Heist, so I think this is going to be a game mode he'll absolutely struggle with just because he doesn't have the DPS to keep up with the Heist meta. It's going to be exactly like Mortis, maybe a little bit better. So I'll probably predict around the D tier. So we have Bounty, so I feel like he's going to be definitely map dependent. He's not going to be as good as a late pick as Mortis, in my opinion. So I feel like he's going to be somewhere around the A/B tier, mainly because it's going to be hard for him to even get close to snipers just because of the way that his mechanics work. Next, we have Brawl. There's going to be a lot of chaos in Brawl. I'm not too sure whether we'll be able to keep up with it, just depending on what the stats look like. But I think it still have potential. You can play a lot of different brawlers in Brawl, so easily around the A/S tier. Next up, we have Hot Zone. I think he's easily going to be an S tier brawler in Hot Zone, mainly because his super can literally cover the entire zone. He's going to be really good at countering some of the meta Hot Zone brawlers as well, like the throwers on like Open Business, for example. He's going to be pretty good. Next up, we have Knockout. So this is definitely going to be one of his worst 3 versus 3 modes, mainly because it takes him 5 hits to get super. That's pretty hard on a game mode like Knockout. I think he could be good towards the later stages, but I think with how the meta's looking, he's not going to be too hot, so probably around the C tier. And lastly, we have Jules. I think he's absolutely going to be S tier here, mainly because of the star power, the gadget with healing. His super is going to be really good. I think it's going to win so many 1v1 interactions, so he's got to be S tier here. Okay, so now we're going to be going through his best counters and his best matchups. So starting off with his best counters, and the first one is going to be Shelly, of course. Any big damage dealer is going to counter KENJI. I think there is a little bit of playability around some of the supers with the damage dealers. You know, for example, Tara and Shelly, you can juke those out with your own super, but of course it takes 5 shots to get that, and against the Shelly it's still going to be pretty hard to win that 1 versus 1, but at least I think he's going to be a little bit better than Mortis in that particular 1v1. Next up, we have Cordelius. So again, Cordelius is just going to be able to keep him in the shadow realm, and there's nothing that he can really do to beat Cordelius. He can keep that range, and he's got the distance and the speed to just stay away from KENJI, so I think that'll be pretty easy 1v1. Next up, we got Chester. So Chester is just so good in this meta. He's not been nerfed with his damage, and at point blank range he's going to absolutely shred through KENJI. So if you see a Chester, do not go with him with KENJI. Next we have Clancy. So he's not as good as a tank counter as some other people, but I think Clancy still with his super and just being able to charge his super easily from KENJI, no brainer. And then last we have Gale. Of course, Gale is just done broken right now, but he's always a tank counter with his gadget as well. KENJI can't get close to him with his super and the stun. Yeah, Gale's just going to have the freest of matchups. And lastly, let's take a look at the best matchups for KENJI. So the first one is going to be low DPS brawlers. So typically these low DPS brawlers are not going to be able to pack a punch in the first few interactions. So for example, Mr. P, Squeak, Sandy, etc. Just think of all the brawlers that already struggle against Mortis. Well, KENJI's going to be exactly like that. So he's going to be able to just feast on those low DPS brawlers. Next up, we got throwers. So again, just think of Mortis's best matchups. Dynamite, Sprout, Barley is going to be exactly the same with KENJI. He's going to be able to just destroy them so quickly, get on top of them easily, and even if they manage to get him weak, he can just pop his gadget and just heal up. He doesn't even need Mortis bats to heal up. He's got a gadget for that. Absolutely insane. Next, we've got squishy brawlers. So again, just any brawler that is super squishy. So we can talk about like B, you know, snipers are typically squishy, Spike, Colt, etc. And that leads us on to the final best matchups, which are snipers. So some of them can deal with assassins, especially with the hypercharges and other things, gadgets, etc. But, you know, typically Kenji's going to be pretty good into like Piper, Bell, Byron, Gus, etc. because they just don't have enough quick DPS up close to deal with assassins. And because of that heal gadget, yeah, it's going to be broken. So that's going to be it for today's video. If I was to put into words how strong I think he'll be, it's definitely going to... I know I've said it a lot in the video, but it's just going to depend on whether he's been buffed with his damage. If his damage gets buffed to 1,500 and 3,000, he's going to be S tier, absolutely. He's going to win every single 1v1, and people are going to heavily underestimate him. I think if he's in these dev build stats, 1,000 slash damage, dash damage, and 2,000 slash, I think it actually might be a little bit underwhelming, so we'll have to see. So yeah, predictions, I think I'm probably going to get a free rank 35 tomorrow. So yeah, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe again, and I'll see you guys next time.